Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's that time of the week. It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for your favorite podcast, SHW. This is our wrestling, the official podcast of Southern Honor Wrestling. I'm B-Double Brandon Benefield, alongside the great Gerard Bonner. The lovely Diana Michelle is on assignment today, but she will be with us next week as we come to you live from the Action Building for the 5th annual RumbleJack. That's right, August 4th, the 5th annual RumbleJack. It's here, buddy. Are you excited?
Yeah. I am excited. RumbleJack is always a special time of year for us here at SHW. And, you know, every year there's always something special that happens for it. And so I'm very excited. It feels like it's shown up fast this year for whatever reason, but it's here, and we're going to definitely preview it, man. But how's your week been?
Oh, it's been good. It's been one of those where it's like, you know, we say this every time when we're getting closer to show week, because it's like when you were a little kid and it was almost Christmas and you can't sleep and you're excited, but it makes it feel like it takes forever to get here.
Sure.
So like you just said, it felt like it got here quick, and it kind of did. Like the month got here quick.
Yeah.
Now that it's almost here, I'm just like, come on.
Right.
I'm ready for this RumbleJack, man. I can't wait, because every year it's like, so WWE obviously has the Royal Rumble and then WrestleMania. Well, we have the RumbleJack, and then a couple months later, our big anniversary, which is kind of like our Mania. So
for sure,
it's almost like Mania season, but what can we call that for SHW?
Still here season.
Still here season. There you go. We'll go with that. I like that. So it's still here season. We're on the road to still here, starting out with the RumbleJack, and man, it's gonna be good. And as you mentioned, we're gonna preview what's coming up. We have 3 matches that we know of. 3 championship matches, and now we can indeed say 3 championships within SHW, because not only do we have the Southern Honor title, we have the tag titles, and now, as of last month, the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship is now a part of SHW. And of course, as you'll recall, Chip Day, our first ever JTS Legacy Champion. And well, let's just start with that on a night where we're expecting a ton of surprises with people that we don't know who's going to show up for the RumbleJack. Chip Day puts out an open challenge, and so we have no idea who his opponent's going to be, unless for some reason it could be announced between now and next Friday, which I haven't been made aware that it will be. So I don't know. I assume we're going to find out at the show. So could it be somebody that's already been announced for the RumbleJack? Could it be somebody that's showing up as a surprise for the RumbleJack? And while they're there, they're like, hey, might as well take up Chip Day on this open challenge for the JTS Legacy title. Who knows? Right.
The possibilities are endless. And, you know, in this whole realm, the wrestling world loves open challenges for some reason. Literally everybody somewhere has got an open challenge. For your first title defense to be an open challenge, I think speaks to the confidence level of our new JTS champion, that being, of course, Chip Day. Given the time it's taken for him to finally get this title, he's got to feel like he's on top of the world. And I understand why he's like, bring him on, whomever. I think what gets interesting is not only do you have RumbleJack season, but now the whole world is aware of this title that bears the name of our matchmaker and WWE Hall of Famer, Jake the Snake Roberts, who keeps showing up in AEW and all sorts of various and sundry places. So now you wonder who in the wrestling world wants to get their hands on this Jake the Snake Legacy Championship. So I think this is open to clearly people outside of SHW.
Why not?
Who might want to come in and shock the world. I think the RumbleJack has always been a space where we've seen a lot of shocking moments. And so I'm intrigued to see what happens here with this first title match. I got no idea who it could be. There are so many people on this list. Who?
There's a reason, a strategic reason why I wore my New Day shirt tonight.
Well done.
Because there's going to be a lot of guessing going on coming up for next week.
There will be. But whoever it is, I'm sure, Jake the Snake will be proud, because I think he's proud of the man holding that title. And then Chip Day, obviously, I think is ready for all comers. So I'm looking forward to this. Whoever is brave enough to answer the challenge, get ready, because I think Chip Day is wanting to prove he deserves to be champion.
Yeah, I can't wait to see him defend the title for the very first time. And as you mentioned, he's worked so hard to get to this point, to hold a title, a singles title within SHW. And man, we're excited for him and excited to see who he could be. And man, that's just one of 3 big title matches. The other big title matches that have been announced, a huge triple threat for the world or the SHW heavyweight title. It's going to be Judas, the champion, putting up the title against not only Gunnar Miller, but also Corey Hollis, which it's been such a crazy web of craziness over the last several months as it comes to these 3 men. You know, we've seen the unlikely alliance as of late of Gunnar and Corey, and now they're going to be foes once again. But could they work together and kind of maybe take Judas out of the equation and then become a one-on-one match? And we know how good of a match it was when they had that. That was a no holds barred retirement match.
Yes.
What, two years ago?
Yeah, still here 2.
Yeah.
Or 3.
3?
2,
man.
3.
Was it the same?
3. It was 3.
So it was the same.
Yeah, it was the same year that we had the strap match with Danny.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
3.
You were thinking the same thing I was. I was like, when was Danny and Rekka? That was okay.
Yes.
But so those guys one-on-one is always just a barn burner. And so could they work together temporarily, at least, take out Judas, and then it become a little bit more of a one-on-one matchup? I don't know. But then Judas, he's going to want to hang on to that title for as long as he can. So, you know, he's not going to, and he's got the backup now of the end game with Todd Sexton and Nick Halen. And what I would have liked to have seen, and who knows what could happen between now and next Friday, would be the problem with the triple threat is it's no disqualification.
Right.
But it would have been nice to see the end game maybe banned from ringside or something. But in a no DQ setting, how can you really ban anybody from ringside? So
right.
I don't see that happening. I just don't know what to expect here other than it's going to be chaos.
It is going to be chaos. And, you know, we've been having questions ever since the top of the year where we saw the return of Corey Hollis. And ever since his return, we've all just been asking, like, you know, what is it good for? What is he here for? What is he trying to do? And I have
absolutely nothing.
I was headed there. So thank you for grabbing that. You know, I'm very intrigued because I've said for months that in the case of Corey Hollis and Gunnar Miller, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Whether the enemy was dishonor or in this case, the enemy is, you know, the end game, there is a common enemy. And now with the SHW championship up for grabs, you know, Corey would love to be the first ever 3-time champion. Gunnar would love to get his title back. Judas would love to put space between both of those and be known clearly as the guy. So there's a lot of stories woven in here, and I genuinely think we're going to see the disillusion of whatever alliance there was between Gunnar and Corey, because while they may have a common foe in the end game, they're not interested in watching the other one become SHW champion. Right. I don't believe Corey Hollis left his baby at home and left retirement to just come and play second fiddle to anybody, you know? So this is going to be interesting. Does Gunnar Miller have the killer instinct to get that championship back again? Or is he just so emotionally charged by what has happened because of the end game that he loses sight of everything? So lots of questions to be answered here. And then, I just wonder who will do what. It's going to be crazy. There it is. and then we haven't talked about, you know, the end game and Todd Sexton and what he could have up his sleeve. I think he understands that his semblance of power, or the only thing he can hold on to right now, is being in control of the SHW championship. He'll do anything, I think, to maintain control of that. So all of that said, another unpredictable moment, an unpredictable match to be a big part of this. And whoever the winner is, I'm sure we'll be watching the RumbleJack very closely.
Yeah, very closely. And it's like Judas is that for Todd Sexton, he's like the golden goose. You know, he's going to, Sexton's going to want to see to it that Judas hangs on to that title. But
absolutely,
it's going to be insane. And, you know, something I just thought about, you mentioned that the winner of that match will be interested in the main event, which will be our RumbleJack match. And I'm wondering, I don't know if there's anything in the bylaws that say the two guys that don't win that match, could they potentially end up in the RumbleJack? Could they make their way in there to get another shot at the title? Who
Well,
knows?
if you remember, I believe it was 2 years ago at the RumbleJack where David Ali was the champion and he defended that night against Jordan Kingsley. And then Kingsley, who ended up losing that match, found his way also into the RumbleJack. So there's certainly precedence for it. And I think whoever doesn't win, I think this will depend on where the RumbleJack finds its way in the card. So if the RumbleJack is the last match on the card, then clearly those two will end up in there.
I'm pretty sure every year it has been the main event, and I'm pretty sure it will be this year. Don't quote me on that just in case, but I'm pretty sure.
And then the other question is, will the shenanigans of last year happen this year? For those who forgot, at the end of last year's RumbleJack, ironically, Gunnar Miller, who won that, was scheduled to get a title shot. We thought either at the next month or at Still Here. He would find out that night, after going through almost an hour in the RumbleJack, he ends up having to get his title shot that night and would lose that opportunity. So no telling what the matchmaker has up his sleeve, and when we get to the RumbleJack, we'll talk about title situations potentially, but all of the unpredictable nature of this means you've got to be in the house to watch history as it unfolds for our 5th annual, right?
It's crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Golly, our 5th annual RumbleJack happening next Friday.
5th annual RumbleJack and coming up on our 5th Still Here 5. So
yes.
It's crazy. Our 5th anniversary. So, it's hard to believe it's been 5 years. Some days it feels like it's flown by, and then other days it feels like, man, 2018 was so long ago. Like, I'm thinking back to those first couple of shows. I'm like, man, that felt like forever ago. And like,
absolutely,
we're all in such a different space now than we were. Like, I was coming into that first show, like, totally out of out of my element, not knowing what I was doing. And now fast forward 5 years and wow, a lot's changed. So anyways, it's neither here nor there, but anyways, back to the RumbleJack card at hand. Yes, that's the big title matchup. The 3rd championship match that has been announced, and you happen to be wearing the shirt of the All-Star Special. Well, if you'll recall the last show, Joe Black, one half of our tag team champions, the Hierarchy, made a point to mention that the All-Star Special was the only team currently deserving of a title opportunity. And our matchmaker, Jake the Snake, apparently agreed and has given the All-Star Special a title shot at the RumbleJack. So it'll be Huck and Hansen, the newly returned All-Star Special, coming off a big win in their 6-man match at the last show. And now they have a title shot against Joe Black and Murder One, the Hierarchy. And you mentioned this in the weeks previous, that there's just so much history. You want to just touch on a little bit of that history between especially Joe Black and Huck, but really all 4 of these guys.
Sure, there's a ton of history between the 4 of them. If we look at Joe Black and Huckabee, at one point they were a tag team. That before they came in SHW, they were a tag team, and even in SHW for a bit,
they were a tag team.
That's right, the Sound and the Fury, and they went on to kind of go separate ways when Huck turned on Joe Black. That led into one of the most intense wars we've ever seen in the history of SHW, which came together and culminated in the infamous dog collar match, which took place at the top of 2020, which still is one of the greatest matches in the history of this company. Certainly won for Match of the Year. I think it won for Feud of the Year as well. It was just, the only way we can describe it is you have to go back and see it on IWTV. Go look for it. I think it's SHW 16 or one of those. It was incredible. Fast forward, they both have gone down different paths. Since that moment, Joe Black has been an SHW champion. Huck went on and kind of he went through a tough spot and then made his way into becoming, joining with Hansen, All-Star Special. These two have gone different paths, not really ever seeing their wins cross or anything like that. Huck, Hansen, go from just kind of these two random guys to becoming the hottest tag team act in Georgia and the Southeast, hands down. They win the SHW tag titles. Then they get robbed of them, honestly, and fired simultaneously. And we hadn't seen them for months by the organization that Joe Black was a part of, being Dishonor. And here we go. Joe Black has now broken away, reunited with his hierarchy brother/mentor, being Murder One. They've gone on to win tag titles, seemingly dissolved the last remnants of that group, which just wreaked havoc all over SHW. And here we are now, somehow, some way, 3.5 years, good gracious, after that dog collar match. Here we are with a tag team match that involves 4 guys who know each other extremely well. There's a lot of respect with these 4 guys. They even call themselves brothers at times, but as has been documented many times in this sport, brothers hit harder. There was an old pay-per-view that was headlined by Shawn Michaels and Diesel, and it was called Good Friends, Better Enemies. And that is kind of where we're sitting with these two teams. I have to admit, we come into these moments impartial. We talk about the matches, we get excited for them. But as a fan, the moment that I am most excited for, I love the RumbleJack. That's going to be great. But this thing right here, this tag title match, I can't call it. I can't figure out what could possibly happen. I know it might start respectful, but at some point, all of that's going out of the window, and I wonder what version of Huck will we get? What version of Hanson will we get? Hanson's not, if you remember, December 2020, when Joe Black, wow, this is crazy how this is happening. So December 2020, Joe Black had to relinquish the SHW championship because of injury. Mm-hmm. When he did, he had a speech, and that night he said, somebody has got to hold up this thing and carry this, and he kept mentioning Hanson by name. Yep. He did it go back and watch it. He did it 3 separate times. So clearly he has eyes on Hanson back in 2020 as the guy that could be the next big thing to carry this company. Again, here we are, 3.5 years from that dog collar match, almost 3 years, 2.5 years from when he relinquished the title. Now we're sitting in this space, Hanson and Huck, Murder One, Joe Black, the SHW tag titles. First time these two teams are meeting under an SHW roof. Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Huck, I do have an All-Star Special shirt. I wanted to make sure I wore it just for you. He was in the comments saying, hey, we got to get you one. I've got one. Now, I do need a new one, but I have this one. And I can't call it. I don't know what we're going to see next Friday night. I'm just honored that we get to be there to call it with the best seat in the house. And you guys, if there's nothing else on this card that should excite you, and there should be plenty, right, but this right here, this is anniversary worthy. This is, dare I say, mania worthy. This is that match, folks.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss it.
When it got announced that it was at this show, I was kind of surprised. Like when Joe last month said that All-Star Special should be the next contenders, I thought, okay, yeah, I agree. But I was right there with you. I'm like, okay, are we going to wait all the way till October for the anniversary show? Because to me, this is that anniversary show type, tag team championship match.
It is.
And the fact that we're getting it at the RumbleJack,
insane.
I mean, we're already super excited about the RumbleJack match itself, but then this match, and then we get that triple threat match for the SHW title, and then Chip Day's defending for the very first time for the JTS Legacy title. I mean, whoa.
Yeah, you could make the argument it's the most stacked RumbleJack event we've ever done.
Yeah.
It is the most title-laden SHW card I can ever remember, because I don't recall us having, there might have been one point.
We've never had 3.
We've never had 3. We've had multiple titles, but I don't know if we've ever had 3. Yeah. And I'm trying to think back to that one time we had the Pro South title on the line, but I don't think all three, the tag title
Yeah.
and the SHW title. So this is historic in a lot. I mean, just think about how big of a card this is. If the undercard, and I put that in giant air quotes, are all title matches. Yeah. Any of these matches could main event any show in the Southeast in a heartbeat. You guys get to see it this coming Friday. So please don't miss it. Be there. Yes, go back and watch it on SW or on IWTV once we put it out, but you need to be there live because it's going to be unpredictable. I have goosebumps thinking about this card. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely insane. Championship RumbleJack. Oh, it's going to be huge. It's already one of our biggest events of the year every single year, and this year is even bigger. And not only because we have 3 championship matches in addition to the RumbleJack, but also because our matchmaker, Jake the Snake, said, you know what? It's our 5th one. Let's make it the biggest RumbleJack match ever and up the ante to 35 competitors. Okay, so normally it's 30. And maybe we fluctuated at one point. We might have had like 28. I know one year we had 31. Right. Well, this year, 35, the most entrants we've ever had into the RumbleJack match itself. So let's get on into that match and talk about that a little bit. Actually, before we do, I do want to mention, we just did find out earlier this week, we've got a special guest doing a little meet and greet. You might remember the legendary Butterbean, legendary boxer, appeared in WWE temporarily when he knocked the living daylights out of Bart Gunn at WrestleMania way back in the day. And I mean, knocked him out cold. But Butterbean will actually be in the action building. Hey, who knows? He could be. There's an open challenge for Chip's belt. There's a lot of surprises for the RumbleJack. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I don't know. But he'll be there doing a meet and greet for the fans. That's the main reason he's there. If he does anything else, that's outside of my, I have nothing to do with it. I'm just saying, we'll see. But Butterbean will be in the house. Get there early at the Action Building next Friday for your autograph, for a photo op, and it should be a lot of fun.
I was going to say, SHW, we are spoiling our fan base. I mean, if you think about it, we have had in the last year's time some pretty significant meet and greets. We had Teddy Long at Still Here 4. Holla, holla. And if you didn't do it, you're going to get put in a tag team match with The Undertaker. So like you've got that. We had the American Males. We had a separate one altogether with Buff the Stuff, Jake the Snake. Now we've got, listen, all the more reason. I'm telling you, where else can you go? And if you were to meet any of these people at a Comic-Con or one of these conventions, you'd have to pay much more money just to get into a line to get their autograph and picture. All you have to pay is admission, a ticket. That's all you're doing. You get to see the show and get an autograph session, a conversation with a legend like Butterbean. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be, I'm telling you, I don't know if this is going to be a regular thing, but whenever they do it, it's amazing. And it just goes to show how many people want to show up and be a part of what we're doing here at Southern Honor.
And that's what I was thinking, GB. You took the words right out of my mouth. It goes to show you all these folks, they know about Southern Honor. I mean, the word about Southern Honor Wrestling is worldwide.
It is,
and people know. People have been watching, whether it's on IWTV, they're watching overseas, they're watching across the country, or whatever it is. Definitely across the state of Georgia, they know about us. I mean,
absolutely,
multi-time promotion of the year. And anyways, I was gonna go somewhere. I'm not gonna go there, but let's just
keep on moving.
Stay on
track.
Keep
on moving. Don't stop. No,
because I will go off on a tangent.
I know,
but
keep on moving.
We got to talk about the big main event RumbleJack match itself. And as I mentioned, Jake the Snake making this year's match a 35 competitor RumbleJack match. Now, for those of you that don't recall, if you've never seen a RumbleJack before, first of all, I recommend before next Friday, you go on IWTV, go ahead and watch all the previous 4 RumbleJacks and kind of get a little refresher if you have seen them. And if you haven't, then you'll learn a little bit more about the rules. But the way it works, similar to the Royal Rumble, every 2 minutes or every
regular
short interval, maybe a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, whatever it's going to be, there's going to be a new competitor enter the match. The only way to get eliminated is to go over the top rope with both feet hitting the floor. Now, when it comes down to the final 2 competitors left in the ring, all of the previous people that were eliminated come back to ringside and circle the ring and are now lumberjacks. And then we have a lumberjack match with the final two competitors. And the only way to win that is by pinfall or submission. No elimination over the top at that point. It's only pinfall or submission once it becomes a lumberjack match. So very cool concept. This is our 5th one. Like I said, it's going to be awesome. The RumbleJack, 35 people this year. Now, here's the thing. If you've been following us on social media, well, if you haven't, shame on you. You should be.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't really know how you're watching us right now, because you should be following us on social media to see this. But we have been announcing a number of entrants over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I do not know for sure if we are done hearing the announcements. There could be some more between now and next Friday. I do not know. But let me just run down the list of the ones that we have heard thus far. And I think it's only like 11 or 12 at this point. And there's going to be 35 total. So what does that tell you? There's going to be a lot of unknowns and a lot of surprises. So we shall see. But let me just run through this list real quick. And then if any of them stick out in your head that, we might want to touch on, then we can go back and talk about them. But the ones that we know of thus far, Owen Knight and Movie Mike, we knew about them for sure last month because there were 2 qualifier matches that took place at SHW 52, and those were your 2 winners. So Owen Knight, Movie Mike. We've got Ashton Starr, Nick Halen, the Kill Billy, Nathan Mowry.
Wow.
Let's see. Sunny Days, the Kenway, Trey Shaw. And 3 guys that I don't really want to name, but I'll go ahead and name them. Exotic Youth, Bryce Cannon, Zach Mosley, and Cornelius Pepperbottom. By the way, I do think the posters look very cool. All the graphics that have been presented with these announcements. I'm not the one that made them myself, so Pepperbottom, don't come after me. I don't know why your name on the poster says Cornelius in quotes, Pepperbottom. But that's just how the graphic is. I don't know who.
That's great.
It's almost great. Cornelius. Yeah, that's if that's your real name.
If that's your real name.
I don't know. I didn't make the poster, but anyways.
My goodness.
So so we got to deal with all 3 of those chuckleheads inside the RumbleJack match this year. And man, I will tell you what, I said it before, because early on I didn't know if either of them were going to be in this match, but I don't know if I could take it if either of those 3 end up winning this thing. But I saw it on the it might have been on the announcement when Cornelius was announced, where it said, at this point, now that we know all 3 of them are in this match, that's going to very much play into their game plan, because they always use that numbers advantage in any match. And so this style of a match is perfect for that game plan. And it could come down. What if they're the final 3 in the match? Then how do they decide which one?
That would be wild. One thing about Exotic Youth that we can't underestimate is they always find a way around a championship scenario. I mean, let's think about the idea that Bryce Cannon was not even supposed to be in the Jake the Snake Legacy tournament, and he found his way in the semifinals, one match away from battling for the finals. And then, Mosley was also already in the tournament. So you had 2/3 of them in the Jake the Snake tournament. All 3 of them. And again, I say one of the things that they want to do is get their hands on SHW gold, to stick it, of course, to the management of SHW, whether that is Gary Lamb or Jake the Snake or 2/3 of V3. Anybody they can stick it to, they would do so gladly. There's a part of me, and maybe we need to get the kind of grassroots campaign that happened 3 years ago that introduced us to one Hold My Beer Hansen. But perhaps one of the greatest potential moments in SHW history awaits us next week, when maybe one of the guest entrants that eliminates one or all 3 members of Exotic Youth could be our own Brandon Benefield. Or it could be Diana Michelle. Can you imagine the viral moment of either of the 2 of you getting in the ring with the sole purpose of eliminating them, I don't know that we'd hear the end of it. It would be amazing.
Let me just tell you this, GB.
It'd be amazing.
I appreciate your excitement for the idea, but
you've been secretly training. I know it.
It is no. What I was going to say, it is way more likely for Diana to be able to do that. Have you seen the pictures she's posted? She's got the gun show.
Okay,
come on.
Listen, let me say this. That Diana Michelle, she is getting it in the gym. And one of the last pictures she posted with her flex, I was like, nobody better mess with her. Like, nobody. She can literally pick you up and throw you out, like, with no problem, and go and dance the rest of the night away. Like, it'd be crazy. So that's one of the moments I'm lobbying for. Obviously, it is unpredictable with, another 20 some odd names that we are unaware of. We could see almost anybody pop in there, but I think that would be a moment the fans would never stop talking about it. Do you hear me? They'll be playing it for years to come. It would be wonderful.
Well, I'm old and I have a bad back, but if it's going to happen, it's going to be Diana. Let me just put it that way.
That's hilarious.
Of any of V3, it would be Diana.
That's hilarious.
Maybe you know something that I don't. Maybe it could be GB. I don't know.
I don't know.
GB's been playing the nice, unbiased guy this whole time. So maybe he's been playing the long con on us, and I don't know.
Hey, if I get in there and eliminate one of them, I'm sure people will be talking about that for a while too. But
because don't act like you've never gotten involved before. Because I remember sitting at commentary one night during a show, and then all of a sudden you left my side, and I'm like, where did Gerard go? And he comes back with like a spool of barbed wire and walks down to the ring to assist Sunny Days in a match against David Ali. And I'm like, that
did happen.
And I literally was going, hey, what is going on here?
Right. So you never know. You never know.
You just
never know. Any of V3 could end up in, I don't know.
So, okay. So, we talked a little bit about exotic. Ashton Starr. Let's talk about this Ashton Starr thing. We know that Movie Mike is going to be in this thing. We know that he's had this strange infatuation with the star of the show, Ashton Starr. And so will these guys, and we saw a little bit of a preview at the end of SHW 52. So could they come face to face inside the RumbleJack match? Who knows?
Well, if we also remember during that impromptu IWTV World Title match, Movie Mike arguably cost Ashton Starr the IWTV World Championship. So I'm sure that if Ashton Starr is able to be in the RumbleJack at the same time as Movie Mike, he's going to want to get his hands on Movie Mike. I will say this, Ashton Starr made his triumphant return to SHW earlier this year, chiseled body, brand new look, brand new renewed focus. He would love to once again become the SHW champion. And I think at this stage in his career where he is as focused as he's ever been, he's in the greatest shape he's ever been. Now would be an amazing time for Ashton Starr to really cement himself as the star of the show and become the winner of the RumbleJack and the #1 contender to one of these championships.
I'll be honest, I would love to see it.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to see it.
Nobody more deserving, I think so. But let's move who else? Let's move on to you know what? I thought this was interesting. Nick Halen was announced as an entrant here. And here's the thing. We talked about that triple threat match earlier. I assume the RumbleJack will be the main event. That's usually the case. So assuming that the triple threat match for the Southern Honor Championship takes place earlier in the night, if Judas is able to retain his title, and then if Nick Halen is able to go on and win the RumbleJack, you have two members of the end game who at a future date will, I assume, compete against each other for the SHW title.
Unless Gary Lamb and somehow maybe even Todd Sexton are able to pull something off where if Nick Halen wins, he might put in a challenge for the IWTV World title.
You beat me to the punch because I was going to wait till the end and get to the point that Gary, we talked about it a little bit a couple of weeks ago about how Gary claimed that he might just put up the prize, the #1 contendership for the IWTV title rather than the Southern Honor title.
And I tend to think that whether Gary does it or not, I think part of the end game of Nick Halen being in this is to secure the fact that now Endgame would be over the SHW championship and potentially the IWTV World Championship. Would there be a more powerful faction in independent wrestling than the Endgame if you now hold both of those championships? And, you know, given the fact that Todd Sexton likes to play the long game, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
That's, man, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
If they had both of those titles, holy cow.
Sheesh.
The Killbilly, Nathan Mowry, making his return, as I mentioned earlier, and known for some of the most memorable moments in the RumbleJack matches.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, these are no DQ rules in these types of matches. He's always showing up with a door covered in barbed wire or a table or something. So who knows what might happen? There's no telling. And here's the thing about Nathan, as opposed to the last couple of years, this past full year, he has been putting in the work in the deathmatch scene all over the country, not just in the Southeast, but up north and all over the place. And so he's been putting in the hours, putting in the miles, and putting his body on the line night after night, and really kind of earning his stripes and earning the respect of that deathmatch world. And if he's bringing all that experience, that newly found experience to this year's RumbleJack, there's no telling what kind of mayhem he might cause.
Absolutely. And, you know, the thing about him, you nailed it, you know, the experience that he's gotten. When we first saw him get in there, it was just as the cameraman. And we were like, sir, what are you doing? He was kind of checking off one of these boxes. Like, I just want to get in the ring and do something. But over the last year, he really has put in a ton of work. And so it'll be interesting to see what he has up his sleeve. And as of right now, we don't know anyone else of that ilk in this match, which means he will have all sorts of things at his disposal and no one else to kind of counteract that. Previously, there was Tank who was counteracting those kinds of things. We haven't heard anything from Tank in a long time. So if the Killbilly is kind of the next guy in that particular realm or ilk of hardcore death match kind of wrestling, that throws, I mean, and let's think about this, you know, you've got a scenario where Judas, if he's the guy that Killbilly would go after, Judas, while he's not necessarily known for being in hardcore matches, but he has no problem turning that switch on in a heartbeat. And then if for whatever reason he decided to go after the IWTV World title, Cruel, very familiar with death matches and things like that, this could be kind of the sleeper pick in this whole thing, the Killbilly, who could, again, all you got to do is find your way to last and get a 3 count at the end of this. He could do that because there's no DQ.
Right. You just never know, man. This match in a promotion where month after month we talk about how unpredictable the shows can be, how unpredictable every single night can be. This is probably our most unpredictable night of the calendar year, and it's going to be and so there's just absolutely no telling what's going to happen. A couple of others here. Sunny Days. Now Sunny Days coming off of a very hard few months, and it's weird because it's like you almost kind of want to feel bad for him, but after the hell that he put the company through by joining Dishonor last year and being a part of that group for so long and basically holding those tag titles hostage for so long, like you almost want to feel bad for him, but I almost feel like he's finally gotten what he had coming to him. He's lost 2 tag team partners, 1 to injury, as Sauronaro has been out of action, which we do wish him well in a speedy recovery. Hopefully we'll see him back sooner rather than later. Who knows? I don't know if he's healed up yet. He might show up at the RumbleJack. But then he lost Cruel. Cruel showed up as his surprise tag team partner, and then very quickly in that same match, that same night, turned on him. So, and then he ended up losing the tag team titles. So it's been a rough couple of months for the monster of SHW. And could he be looking to reset that focus and earn himself a singles championship opportunity? And we shall see. But any thoughts on Sunny Days being in this thing?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I think Sunny Days, you know, made a decision, and his decision was, let me, you know, if you can't beat him, join him. And so he joined this band of misfit toys that was known as Dishonor. And he benefited from it, right? Like, I know we want to say we feel sorry because he's had a tough couple of months, but let's just look at what he did. He traded in this company for personal gain, and he got a lot of it. He spent over 240 some odd days as the SHW tag team champion. You know, he had the benefit of not having to defend the title for most of those days because, you know, the ship that he was connected to was running the company. So, you know, if you call yourselves Dishonor and you're only, you know, knitted together by our desire for power, you know, when people start jumping ship, you know, he was the last of the Mohicans, dare I say. And he didn't treat his tag partner well. And so that being Cruel. And Cruel said, I've had all I can stand and I can't stand no more. And Cruel was like, no, I don't have to take this. So I think now Sonny is going to have to figure out, okay, what do I do on my own? And will that be enough to carry him to a place he's never been? The SHW championship. I think he's got enough reason to do it. The question will be, will he stand the test of time, and will he be able to do it without any alliances? He's never been in this company without an alliance, whether that was Fear or Dishonor. Now he stands on his own. We'll see.
We shall see indeed. Now, the RumbleJack, as we know, every single year, we see a lot of first-timers, a lot of newcomers that come out of the woodwork because they come from all over to be a part of this matchup. And we have yet to see RumbleJack where a first-time participant or a newcomer, somebody making their SHW debut, has shocked us all and won the whole thing. But that's not to say it can't ever happen. Correct. And so we heard Trey Shaw, the Ripper, will be making his way into SHW. And to that very point, he could be one that a lot of the fans in SHW may not be familiar with him. Fans from around the Southeast may be a little more familiar with him. But could he show up and shock the world, shock the SHW faithful next Friday night, and be one of these newcomers that goes the distance and earns himself a title shot?
So it's interesting. You're right. We've not had a scenario where a newcomer has come in and done that. We have had it where a surprise has come in and won. And that was, of course, Austin Towers at number 31 a couple of years back. Yeah. You know, the element of surprise is always a plus for the person who is the surprise. And I think in this particular case for Trey, he has the opportunity to do just that, to allow the unknown to carry him and to make history and be the first newcomer to enter SHW and win the whole thing. You know, certainly now with 4 of these behind us, if he's smart, he's gone back, he's watched the tape, he's watched, okay, pitfalls, here's what I should do, here's what I shouldn't do. You know, do I have the endurance? Can I last? The beauty of people not knowing him is they may not be checking for him, right? So you're thinking in your head, okay, these are the threats. I need to look out for this one. I need to look out for that one. Yeah. But sometimes you'll not think about the person who is the newcomer or the surprise until we see now they're in the final 4, you know? So I think if Trey plays his cards right, he could be a sleeper in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like we talked about with Nathan Mowry, I mean, you just never know. If you just play, you know, put in a little strategy work, and pick your spots just right.
That's right.
You just never know what's going to happen in this kind of matchup. But
that's right.
Somebody that had one heck of a showing last month in the JTS Legacy Championship Finals, didn't quite pull off the victory, but still put up one heck of a fight. That being the Kenway, had a great showing throughout the tournament, all the way into the finals. Yeah. And even the guy that he faced in the finals, Chip Day, a couple of months prior when he had that time limit draw match against Chip Day, looked very impressive there. Has been very impressive the entire time he's been here in SHW. He's somewhat become a fan favorite, I would say. And he has been announced as an entrant here and now has another opportunity at a title shot. So it's his first time in a RumbleJack match.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I think odds could be good for him if he could keep that momentum going. Yeah, he's coming off a loss at the last show, But if he can ride that momentum of just the impressive outings he's had thus far in the company, it could bode well for him.
For sure. You know, that was his first loss in SHW. And one of the big questions that comes up is, how do you respond after your first loss?
Yeah.
I think the momentum that the Kenway has had, and, you know, he has been really an unstoppable force until last month with Chip Day. And again, he put up a tough fight against Chip Day. Could this be the moment for him to bounce back? And can you imagine what Chip Day would feel like if the Kenway wins the RumbleJack and gets a shot at the SHW championship before Chip Day might? Like, that would be a whole different thing that would rile Chip Day all the way up all over again. So,
you know,
makes me wonder.
Speaking of wondering, and with Gary just throwing it out there that, hey, I might throw out an opportunity for the IWTV title. Could this be a situation where maybe it's like the winner gets to pick what title they go after?
Sure. Now that we have multiple titles.
That's what I'm saying. And could the JTS title be one of them? I'm just spitballing here. I'm not saying that's a thing that's going to happen. I'm just, it would be interesting if
it would be,
you know, Chip Day thinks, oh, good, I'm finally done with the Kenway. And then the Kenway wins the RumbleJack and said, you know what? I want another shot at Chip's title.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but just saying that could be interesting.
As Peebo Bryson once said, it's a whole new world, right? It's a whole, I know, Peebo Bryson reference, but you know,
I was thinking Aladdin, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, he sung the song, so.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did.
I thought it was a whole new world. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's that, and I think this does cause a lot of different questions with our matchmaker. You know, what say ye? We'll find out. And who knows what twists they'll throw at us next week. You got to be there to find out.
Yeah, we did find out too, or we didn't find this out, but I saw a post, I believe it might have been yesterday, thanking one of our big sponsors, Immortal Tattoos, one of our big sponsors for the RumbleJack. Now, in years past, they have brought in folks like Stevie Richards, you'll recall. Was it last year they brought in Ernest the Cat Miller? I think that was last year. They all kind of run together. We've had so many big names that have shown up over the years. So they are, again, a sponsor, and who knows if they have any surprises up their sleeve again this year. I want to say they probably do, but I don't know that for sure, so don't quote me. But you never know. And so I just named, from the ones that we know of, that's 11. So that means if there's going to be 35, that means there's 24 that we don't know about. Okay, 24 spots that have not been announced. And again, I'm not saying there will be, because I don't know for sure. There might be a couple more announced between now and next Friday. That's 1 week. I don't know if that's the case. We may get there next Friday and still 24 spots that we have no clue, and we're all going, whoo. So I don't know, but I know it's going to be exciting, and it always is exciting. And again, it starts our road to Still Here, and Still Here 5 is right around the corner in October. And of course, our 5th annual RumbleJack is next Friday, 1 week from tonight, August 4th, in the Action Building, 261 Marietta Road, Canton, Georgia. It's going to be awesome. 3 big title matches, the huge RumbleJack, 35 competitors this year. It's going to be insane. And of course, the legendary Butterbean on hand for a meet and greet with the fans before the show. And GB, I know if you're anything like we say it every month, we can't wait to call the action. But this month especially, it's going to be insane, buddy.
It is going to be insane. It's going to be really, really special. And, you know, there's one other name that I want to mention that you mentioned that I am now dubbing Mr. RumbleJack. That's Owen Knight.
Yeah.
He certainly had a change of heart over these last few months, but if you want to see the Iron Man of the RumbleJack, go back and watch these RumbleJacks where he's ended up starting at number 1 or number 3 or number 5. He's at early starts, and he's always there in the last 3 or 4, or even the last 2, as has happened previously. He's somebody to watch out for, because if he gets a later number, that could be really, really dangerous, because people have not found a way to throw him out of the RumbleJack. So again, there are lots of potential things that could happen here and tons of surprises. You don't know who's going to walk through that curtain, but we do know that it's going to be a massive night. Lots of titles on the line. Again, a title-heavy show. This is a big, big show, guys. So I don't know what your plans initially were for next Friday, but if you need to change them so you can be present for SHW 53, the RumbleJack. It's going to be crazy. And it's never hyperbole when we say it. It really is something special. And we leave kind of like, holy cow, what just happened here? What on earth can they do next? We don't know. But I get the feeling that for it to be the biggest RumbleJack we've ever done, the most title-heavy RumbleJack we've ever done, the most surprises potentially we've ever seen, we're going to leave this night shaking our heads. I don't know in which direction. Be there next Friday for the RumbleJack.
It's going to be awesome. We will be coming to you live with this show, which will act as the official pre-show on Facebook Live. And we would be doing that from 7 to 7:30. Tickets go on sale at the door starting at 5. Doors open at 7. And, of course, bell time is at 8. Tickets start at just $15. And, as always, kids 10 and under are free. So bring the whole family. If you're sitting around on a Friday night with, nothing to do, this is and if you've never been to an SHW show, this is one to come to. This is one you don't want to miss. So come on out. And if you have been, invite your friends. Invite some friends that have never been before. I promise you it's going to be a great time, and make them new fans, and then they'll come back month after month and can be a part of our monthly family reunions that we have. And it's going to be awesome. But, hey, until we see you guys next week, and we can't wait because it's going to be huge, the biggest RumbleJack ever. This has been SHW.
This is our wrestling.
Bam!